Hi everyone and welcome back. This is Sky coming on to talk to you about the month ahead of February 2023, the comprehensive astrology. In this video, I will be talking about the intuitive messages I'm getting about the month, and then I will pull up some astrology charts and tell you about the transits and aspects that we're having in February. But first of all, if you're new, do hit the subscribe button below to get notified when these monthly astrology reports go out. And if you're looking for more premium content, this channel is on Patreon, where you can get weekly forecasts called Tea Chats every week. So yes, the month of February 2023, there is a kind of like secondary level healing of the logical mind coming in this month, or that is certainly something that we can have. If you remember, I was speaking a lot in January about how there was a larger hibernation phase coming in for a lot of people, followed by a remeasurement. Okay, so it was kind of like resting and just allowing the energy of 2022 to do what it needed to do, and then coming back with fresher eyes and looking at some of the structures and systems that were still remaining in your life. And I feel that February continues this somewhat. So hopefully you've been able to rest a bit in January. And I feel that the energy of remeasurement and taking stock comes back even stronger in February. Of course, we have Aquarius season. We are in All Planets Direct. I have made videos about All Planets Direct, which I will link below. And we have also come through with a really strong new moon in Aquarius. Okay, Mars went direct in Gemini. We have a lot of air energy coming in. So it's trying to get us to make new connections, to sort of clean up the circuit system of our own aura, of our own mind. Okay, and that's the main thing that I'm feeling about February, is it's kind of like cleaning up the mind a little bit. It's cleaning up, it's purifying, it's trying to get us more easily adaptable to the right circumstances. It's wanting us to stop cementing ourselves in bad, toxic circumstances, and it's wanting us to get healthy enough in the mind, in the aura, in the sense of self capacity to just kind of step into or onto the paths that make more sense. Kind of like the air element, it just kind of flows and it moves. Air is the most mobile of the elements, so it gets into all of the places. And water is kind of like this as well. But air even more so can get into places that water even cannot get into. It's important to start getting into new territories, or it's important to start letting yourself go places maybe that you haven't been before. And this could be a larger building process that's happening as we do have an Aries stellium that will be forming by the end of the month that shows a lot of people pioneering a certain space or entering into, again, territories that they've never been in before. So knowing that that type of situation is coming for a lot of people means that we need to be very healthy, we need to be very there, we need to be very present, and we need to be cognizant of what's happening around us. In the year of 2022, we had a few astrology transits that fogged a lot of people's perceptions or made them kind of out of it in a lot of the things they were going through. Like, there were so many things going on, so many things to think about, so many different moving parts that a lot of people might have even gotten a little bit disoriented. And the year of 2023 is serving to wake us back up to the most important paths that are in front of us. It is still going to be giving a lot of different areas of focus, though. So you might have a lot of things that are potentially distracting. Okay, we had a really harsh Mercury retrograde that ended in January, but there's still some fallout from that, as a lot of people kind of feel distracted or like it's hard to really reconcile or consolidate all of the different moving parts of their life. That's why we need to, instead of like making somewhat unfocused or unprecise actions here, we still need to focus on getting healthier and clearing up the mind more. I feel that a lot of people still have something to learn from a resting state as well in February. So I don't think that this is the month for pushing yourself to your limit or just putting one foot in front of the other, just taking sort of unthoughtful action. Any actions taken now need to be well thought out, well planned. And something that I've been feeling very strongly is that it's important to measure twice and cut once. So really watch out for, yes, unprecise action or just go, like just doing stuff. Because there will be, for some people, a motivation just to do that, just to like blast off and just resolve things, just to have them resolved and to stop worrying about stuff. It would be very easy for certain like very Mars-ruled people right now, or people with a lot of like any fire in their chart, to just be like, I'm so tired of thinking about all this stuff. I'm so tired of all this being constrained in the mind, and I just want to be done. There are a lot of people who just are like, I'm ready to leave this stuff behind. I'm ready to just, even if it causes collateral damage or something, just get me out of this situation, is something that I'm feeling coming up. The Mars in Gemini, along with Jupiter in Aries, says that some people have a very pent-up kind of energy, and that is hard for them to be still with. So stillness could be hard for some people, but Aquarius is demanding it as a fixed air sign. Aquarius is demanding a very still, fixed mindset that understands why it's acting the way that it is, what the bigger purpose behind the actions are. And also there's a reassessment of the motivation queuing up certain actions. So we are definitely looking at a certain self-questioning process of the current motivations and if those are still relevant to the current path. There is also a huge amount of progress that is open in this month. In fact, just a progress period was what I wrote down as the first intuitive message that I was getting for this month. So don't think that the stillness or this remeasurement process or this time of reassessing motivation is stagnant or is slow, okay, or withheld. I think that's the error of this time, is thinking that this slower period of time or this time of examination that Aquarius is really hoping we can give to ourselves, don't think that that's antithetical to your progress. Don't think that that's not fast enough, because there's going to be a different force kind of saying, okay, you need to speed up. You don't need to like hold back like this. You don't need to just like ponder things here. No worries. Over the next 2 months, over March and April, we're going to have all the energy we need and more support to just make actions and to be firm. But yeah, in order to make those actions, we need to measure well here. So mostly February is about measurement. And it's about also healing the mind to where it's not like in a perpetual loading screen of sorts. That would be the best thing that I would recommend to anyone for this month. Also, body healing, the Aries stellium that comes up later this month. If you've been needing to try new exercise regimens, okay, this is the time. New diets, new exercise regimens, new programs, new personal training, new gyms, new daily routines. For some people, new supplements, new skincare, a total revamping of the body care regime for a lot of people is another great way to work with February and March and April. This all planets direct phase, which I talked about in the video, which is revolving around the degrees of 14 and 15 Taurus. Check that video to get an explanation of that. Is totally revamping people's body care regimes and also how people spend money, how people eat. That midpoint of Taurus is about the most balanced, well and prosperous, abundant material body care, okay? So again, it's comprehensive. This is not a period of time. And again, Jupiter and Mars in doing what they're doing kind of contradict this, because the Jupiter-Mars might be like, okay, you need to just like do this one really crazy fad diet, and that's the only change that you make. Or, okay, you need to start like just eating meat or something, and that's the only change that you need to make. Or just going vegan, and that's the only change that you need to make. No, we're seeing that is what has caused a lot of problems in a lot of our lives, is we've had these like very finite or focused healing modalities, and they're not comprehensive enough. This all planets direct phase over this 3-month period is teaching us about comprehensive well-being, not just like making one extreme change in one small category and thinking that that's going to like change your life. It's about taking every single component of your experience, examining those components, asking what they lead to over a long period of time, reconciling them all together, and seeing the greater alchemy through your past experience and your recent lessons learned, seeing the greater alchemy that your life has taken through all of these different contributions to you. So it's overwhelming for a lot of people. I understand. We're going to be moving into Pisces season at the end of this month, and Saturn is approaching Pisces. We've got Neptune there. Venus will be going through Pisces, and we have to be able to see things from these macro points, because it won't be much longer. Okay, we get all of Saturn in Pisces to really still have this, but in the grander scheme of things, things will get more micro. And I know that it's overwhelming for a lot of people for things to be so macro, like to have to be able to think of all of these things, to have to be able to consider so many different aspects of your life. And it's why a lot of us have known more isolation lately. It's why a lot of us don't have as many people around us. It's why a lot of us have the time or have had weird life experiences that have led us to be more cognizant of the greater space around us so that we can figure this stuff out. So if you've been struggling with isolation, or if you've been struggling with making connections or having valuable relationships with other people, I do think it's a sign from the universe that your life needs a comprehensive shift. Now, it doesn't have to be extreme, but you at least need to be able to perceive of all of the contributions you're making to your life and the greater momentum that they offer. So, yes, February will have a lot of people having totally changed, like, their diet. Some people are moving, some people are not eating a certain type of food anymore. And then also, Aquarius will give you answers. Okay, so if you've been thinking, I don't know how to get this new type of food into my life, I don't know how to afford this nicer diet, I don't know how to get a better quality food source, I don't know how to solicit like a personal trainer or another type of assisting dietitian or massage therapist or astrologer or lawyer or whatever we're needing. So I'm also feeling there's a little crisis with like people needing help and not really knowing where to go. And I also think that clarifying the mind and getting your aura into better shape is one of the only ways that you can really change that. So Aquarius is going to give us what we need when it comes to professional relationships as well. Again, remember the 11th house, the collective 11th house. In all planets direct, Aquarius season is one of the best times for making new professional relationships, for getting in LinkedIn for some people, or doing it in person. I don't know. But you can make the connections that you need to here, and Aquarius will show you creative solutions to your problems that defy things like not being able to afford quality food or not being able to find the motivation as well to just make the change. The comfort of the old, the comfort of the stagnant is a big thing that we're facing in a difficult way this month. Also, is there anything else I want to talk about before I just talk about astrology? Preparing for the Saturn-Pluto sign shift in March. That's kind of segueing into astrology, but yes, Saturn and Pluto will both change signs in the month of March 2023. Pluto into Aquarius, Saturn into Pisces. What that also means, and I'm going to just go ahead and pull up the astrology charts on the screen. I'm just writing down the timestamp. Okay, so as you can see on the left chart, we have Saturn at 25 and Pluto at 28. And then on the right chart, we have both Saturn and Pluto at 29 degrees of Aquarius and Capricorn. So by the end of the month, well, there are going to be some really crazy like power plays, and it's actually a very kind of Machiavellian energy. Saturn at the anaretic degree of Aquarius, semi-sextile Pluto at the anaretic degree of Capricorn. That's a clash of worlds. It's a clash of elders, like two elders from different clans, like going at it, in a crazy way. So yes, that's going to also work things out, and that's going to bring things to the surface, and that's going to be like a climax of sorts by the end of February. And of course, within 1 week, I believe it's like sometime between March 5th and March 15th. I haven't looked that far forward since I did the 2023 year ahead videos. They will both change signs in the same week, Saturn and Pluto. So there's going to be this feeling of like the last 15 years struggle, like all culminating into this one like climactic feeling, this one climactic series of events. And then the energy could very well into March, like a break and totally transform into a different type of story. But the main thing that I would say for us, you know, for people here, is to prepare for this change and to understand the culminations in your life. What 10 or 15 year stories have you seen in your own life come to a culmination very recently? Is that happening now for some of you? Did it happen in 2022? What do you need to still do with those stories? Is there a cherry that you need to put on top of these stories? Are they really through? That's another thing that I would feel that's a very kind of like short-term message, is that I think a lot of people think that they've finished something or think that they're done with something, but there could be like the most important part of it that signals your honoring of this long phase of your life that needs to happen here. So to think about what that might be, to think about like, okay, maybe I've done all the legwork, I've done like through 30 degrees of Pluto and Capricorn, all of the effort some people have had to make, like building businesses from the ground up, totally changing the status of your family, totally like shifting or transforming through your own hard work, your entire energetic framework, your entire material grounding or well-being. A lot of people have done that with Pluto and Capricorn. I would definitely take February, being that we have this wonderful remeasurement phase, as a time to measure what you did over the last 15 years, 2008 to 2023. And we're going to have more time to do that at the end of this year when Pluto retrogrades back, because there are going to be a lot of people once Pluto hits Aquarius being like, oh my God, I still have like physical changes to make, or I still have like material shifts or framing or putting cherries on top of like what I was contributing to for such a long part of my life. So it's nice to think in that space, and that feels very comfortable to me as well. Like, how can I honor the ending of a certain story? How can I symbolize or give grace or give thanks? For some people, this is about thanking people. Thank you notes. Imagine how strong a certain thank you note or a certain communication of gratitude or even gifts for some people can really go a long way. There's a certain diplomacy here. There's a certain, and you have to be careful. Also, like these can be not the right solution. So you have to know like when it's right to implement these types of things. But yes, with those 229 degrees, it just says that there's something that everyone's had to work really hard to get through. Everyone's had to like make sacrifices. Everyone's had to like really have a lot of blood, sweat, and tears put into certain things with the anaretic semi-sextile of Saturn and Pluto. And then once you accomplish, or once you get to the top of that mountain, I was talking about, I believe it was in like Leo's extended reading for the month of February on Patreon. I was talking about how like sometimes when people get to the top of the mountain, or they are faced with completion of some kind, especially after a very arduous journey or something that has taken a long time to get through, things can kind of like flatten, or things can be like, it's hard for a lot of people to perceive that because it's such a shift in muscle memory. Again, the body gets accustomed to climbing. So once it gets to the top, it can kind of go into a panic because it's like, oh my gosh, no more climbing, no more climbing. And now there's a shift here for a lot of people. I think it's a good comparison, is like, what do you do now that you're at the top of the mountain? I was seeing for a lot of the signs this month in a lot of my readings that a lot of people were making a mistake about just not symbolizing certain completion processes, or not realizing that they don't have the same context anymore. Also, people who have already achieved like early retirement, or people who have already achieved some type of dream, or have already accomplished something incredible, still taking the soul format or the muscle memory of before they did this completion. So like still trying to jump through the hoops they've already jumped through. That's probably the biggest error of this time, or the biggest problem zone. And in order to not find yourself there, the real key, okay, is shifting up your sensory experiences here and putting the cherries on top of the cake that you've baked over the last like 15 years. Thanking people, offering gratitude. Let's not have conflicts with people here, okay? I think that the world is in such a state of conflict right now that there's no need to add any kind of like extra little arguments or questioning other people's choices or, directly to them. It's one thing to learn vicariously through people. And I also think that it's a very powerful time for observing other people's stories and learning vicariously so you don't make similar mistakes. And then people might do that to you as well. People are learning vicariously through each other, but that should be the extent of it. We do not need to like call people out and be like, do you realize that you like wasted 5 years of your life there? Or do you realize that you've like made a mistake? Do you realize it's going to be like really hard to get back into shape? I just feel like there are some snippy people as well right now who might use this energy that we have in February, this strong logical mind, to kind of poke at other people or prod at other people. So if someone does that to you, it is a blessing, okay? That will help you karmically. And then also there might be something in their poke or in their snippiness that actually can heal something in you, or can teach you something about, I don't know, some kind of spiritual issue that you're going through. So that's also something that I would just give you some foresight into for this month ahead, is like snippy people, or people who are kind of like a little bit sharp, okay? It could even be like a Queen of Swords reversed kind of energy coming in, or upright, depending on where you're at. But what I would also do, especially as we're getting into the latter part of the month, is I would start to really set every single thing that you can in your life straight, okay? Are there things in black and white, like papers or commitments or obligations, contracts? Are there things that can be made more seamless? Okay, can you clean up some of your contracts? Can you clean up some of your commitments? Can you also voice or express to people in a more optimized way what you can offer to them and what you can't? Okay, I think that it's a wonderful time for setting clean boundaries. I think it's a wonderful time for cleaning up boundaries and for cleaning up the language that we use to assert our boundaries. That's a great thing you can do here. And in March. March will also give that, because, to have a 0-degree Saturn and a 0-degree Pluto, do not underestimate the degree to which you can change your career, change your obligations, change your boundaries, change your power, okay? It's kind of a shape-shifting time that we're moving into for some people. It depends on how it's transiting your own chart. But I think it's hopeful and it's scary depending on different people. So the way that it's hopeful is that if you've been having something that's really been weighing you down with late Pluto and Capricorn, some kind of heavy business or career or relationship, some type of context, or even self-fulfilling prophecies with Pluto and Capricorn that keep you constantly obligated, constantly contracted, and constantly at the mercy of others, there's about to be a window where you can truly change that. And that's so hopeful. It's scary for other people who are on the other end of that, who rely on other people being obligated to them, who rely on other people being contracted to them, who rely on other people holding up their sky, okay? That's who it might be a little bit more scary for. And then, yes, also the people who are contracted or are obligated and need that story, or need that to like justify their own addictions, justify their own negative coping mechanisms, the fact that they're holding someone else's sky up, or that they're over obligated to another person. That's really the crux of this time. And you see how it's kind of a slight puzzle, it's a slight riddle, and we need healthy minds to really work out all of these details, because it's not going to come through a gosh darn fog of turmoil. Like, it's not going to be through the fog or through the moon archetype or through the just the unsureness or insecurity that we come through this is going to be through like solving a certain series of difficult puzzles or difficult things that we have been stuck or hung up on for a long time. And this stretches into March, and it may, for some people, it may even be like the first week of April before they really come through, but we need to see over this 3 months of all planets direct a really strong progress. And for me, again, like what I'm doing is I'm just really focusing on cleaning up the mind, purifying the aura, purifying the environment around me as well, putting things into proper order, so that there aren't a lot of distracting snags or distracting little chaotic energies keeping me from like figuring the important stuff out. A little bit more about the astrology. I'll just kind of list to you some of the movements of the planets. So we have Mercury moving from Capricorn to Aquarius. That's good because, of course, Mercury was retrograde in Capricorn, so it won't be until it gets into Aquarius that it really kind of gets healthier. By the end of the month, we do have a near Mercury-Saturn conjunction in Aquarius. So we're going to really, again, be able to perceive the obligations, contracts, and boundaries in a much clearer, more concise way. We also have, of course, I already mentioned Pluto and Saturn. So we have Venus moving from Pisces to Aries. Wonderful it is in the month of February to just like get into the sauna, get to the spa, get to the therapist, even for some people, the life coach, whomever, the astrologer, because we need some type of therapeutic healing energy for just our like soul for some people. So even going to the church, going to some type of wise person as well can be very good during this time, as Venus is in Pisces, to soothe what has been like really overdone is really important. In fact, I get the psychic image of a blacksmith putting their hot brandishing tools into the water and the steam coming off. Okay, so that is something I think is happening in Aquarius and Pisces. But I will give you a heads up that Pisces season is not quite as restful as usual this year because we have a huge Aries stellium coming in. So there's actually more restful Pisces energy in middle and late Aquarius season than there will be in Pisces season, in my opinion. And then when Venus moves into Aries on February 18th, that's going to be a great period of time to start to really make some emboldened changes and to allow your motivation to find you, to allow your muse to find you, and to start enacting or executing changes in your life. Venus in Aries is a wonderful energy for making new changes. Also, new diets, new exercise, things like that, as we will have that bigger Aries stellium by the end of February that has, of course, Venus, Jupiter, and Chiron. And a little bit about the Venus-Jupiter-Chiron conjunction by the end of February. Okay, we're going to see the detriment of certain indulgences. We're going to understand the degree to which a certain addictive cycle, if we have that in life, is as a result of like trauma or indulgence or really the roots of certain trauma grids in our life with Chiron, Jupiter, Venus. That's an interesting transit because, of course, Jupiter-Venus conjunction is one of the most benefic, it's the grand benefic alignment in astrology, a Venus-Jupiter conjunction. It means good luck. It has a feeling of omnipotence. It has a feeling of divine support. It has a feeling of also sometimes, yes, indulgence and such strong personal vitality that it can like also be over the top, especially in a fire sign like Aries. To mix Chiron in with that, we will definitely see what we've put too much energy into, what we have lost through a need for some kind of comfort or a need for some type of, not indulgence, but the feeling that indulgence gives, you know, that sort of over dopaminergic energy. A lot of us might need like a dopamine detox, okay, with Chiron, Jupiter, and Venus. A lot of us might need to pull a lot of sugar out of our diet. Again, to me, Venus and Jupiter conjunction is like sugar. It's like sweet stuff. It's just that type of energy. Also, like very over-the-top decorated cakes. Also, luxuriousness or extravagance or arrogance even. So something along those energetic lines with Chiron there as the wounded healer, as the asteroid centered around healing trauma, overcoming wounds, overcoming long-running karmic volatility. Imagine all those energies combining together. What does that mean to you? Well, for a lot of people, it means diabetes. No, I'm kidding. That's what that would be like, though. You know, when it's just a good astrological lesson. Of course, I'm not like a medical practitioner. I can't like diagnose anything. But like the combination of Venus, Jupiter, and Chiron is very much like the energy of like diabetes or some type of illness or difficulty that comes as a result of too much sweet stuff, too much sugar, too much. Also, I see it also as screens and gaming or things that also really overactivate the dopamine receptors in the brain. There could be fallout from stuff like that as well with that transit. And being that it's in the sign of Aries, yes, we want to start replacing things. So anything that you've identified in your life as like a sugar addiction or a crutch or some kind of indulgence that like gets you through the day, we have to start replacing those there by then. So by the end of February, you all, by February 28th of 2023, if not sooner, even as far back as January 21st, we could have started doing this with great success. And for those of you who have been doing it, since the month of January, you're going to start seeing the first preliminary results of a great diet, of a great cleanse, of a great replacement strategy. Replacement strategies, okay? It might behoove many people to journal about their own replacement strategy. If they have anything in their lives that they feel is not healthy or has fallen into shadow, something that was once good, something that was once sweet that has now fallen into shadow, is what that transit represents, and the possibility to heal and make the proper replacements. New exercises, okay? I'm serious with this being in like Mars's sign, also having Mars at a good angle, okay, in Gemini. This is like, well, yes, I used to have something that was not good for me in my life, and I just started doing calisthenics, or I just started doing yoga, or I just started going to Pilates, or I started running, and the way that I had endorphins, or the way that my body embraced me and showed me a different truth as I was in that stage of replacement, has totally changed my life and has totally healed all of the wounds that were contributing to that addiction or to that phase of indulgence. Those are the types of stories we can start having as a larger healing process for the body with that transit by the end of the month. Of course, as you can also see, we have a Pisces triple conjunction, the Sun, the minor asteroid of Nessus, and Neptune. I do think Nessus is playing a really interesting role. I've actually been interested in that asteroid lately. I will try to make a video about it and tell you guys more about that. But there's a very slow rolling snowballing of a certain self-reclaiming and a certain like reclaiming also of the ancestral with the South Node in Scorpio and Nessus in Pisces, Neptune in Pisces. The eclipses we had in Scorpio last year, there's a major resurgence of like the inner core or the main mission of like your ancestry and also of yourself that is like kind of slowly snowballing to a more prominent place of your spiritual journey. But that's happening in the background right now. That's not the forefront thing. It was in 2022, but it's going to take a more background position to your more immediate physical concerns, probably throughout most of the year of 2023. And then by 2024, yes, we're going to be back into the main story, I think, of self-reclaiming and that type of thing, which is really something that's really exciting to me. But yes, here in February, you all, we need to really focus on our physical being, on our body, on our mind, on the health of both of those working in tandem with each other. Tarot archetypes that I feel for this month that are very positive include the Nine of Pentacles, the Fool card, and the Temperance card. Okay. Also in the readings, the Seven of Wands reversed was coming up a lot. And Yeah. Also, the Four of Swords was coming up quite a lot too. So the Seven of Wands reversed, like getting over concerned with conflicts or opposition. Also, getting a little bit disillusioned about who's on higher ground and who isn't, and getting really obsessed with that kind of thing, and when we just really need to be making our own personal progress here. So it's a great month for reflection. It's a great month for measurement, for logical pursuits. I definitely recommend that people study or do math or some kind of music or something to really get their selves coordinated more, becoming more coordinated, becoming more clear on your own path forward will be the way to move forward here. So anyway, everyone, thank you so much. Be sure to check out my Patreon page linked below, where every week I do premium forecasts called T-Chats. The Patreon page is just really growing, and it's such a wonderful space that is over there. I invite you over there. It's very reasonable. It's very valuable. And for as low as $5 a month, you can get all of the readings early and ad-free with their extendeds, and you get the T-Chats with that too. So come check it out. It's a great value, and I would love to have you over there. And yes, also, if you're new, hit the subscribe button here on YouTube and thumbs up the video. I hope you have a beautiful February. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.